I need to clean up. Back in the studio, you already know, once again. Peeing in on the track name. Chill.
So MAG is a game that's basically trying to take the first-person shooter genre and put it on steroids and take it to the next level. From the ground up, we built the game to be focused on large-scale infantry combat. Around 256 players has been our goal.
So we wanted to create an online multiplayer experience that would take things a couple generations further than anyone had seen before. Create large-scale effects, large-scale battles, large events, have the players feel like they're part of a much bigger battle, much bigger conflict than they would in any other game to this point.
MAG is very player-driven story, so we want players to create their own story, but in order to do that, we've worked really hard to try to create a lot of character and a lot of interest to the world state. So the game's based in about 25 years in the future.
The Shadow War is what encases MAG. It is the background of the world in which the people of the world have basically gotten tired with their governments pouring so much money into war. Fuel is at a premium. It's hard to have a large standing military. So private military corporations have risen to the forefront as groups that will perform the sort of duties and the sort of actions that government armies or national armies performed previously. So in this future, in the Shadow War, these PMCs are on the surface performing humanitarian acts, security operations, defensive operations, but secretly underneath the surface or the publicly viewed aspects of those PMCs, they are basically vying with each other for control of the contracts, the wealth.
But as time goes on, the power of those individuals and the powers of those groups grows, and they take to more direct action to try to win contracts and gain superiority over their competitors. And by direct action, we're talking guns, grenades, and rockets. They're actually striking at each other, trying to weaken their opponents and strengthen their own position in the world. I think what's fun about the story is the fact that it's not too far of a stretch to be believable, and you can see what happens if we turn over too much of our national security as different nations around the world into private contractors. You can imagine how that might go a little bit rogue. But it's also set in a very near world or a near future state, so all the weapons feel very believable. All the weapons and gear are something that you can turn on the news and see people using now. So it feels really gritty. It's a future that's not overly dark, but also not exactly all roses.
MAG is a game that I think will exceed expectations and is really bringing something that players haven't seen before to the gaming public. But what I'd like to see is that the backstory that we've made, the work that we've put into the PMCs, the work that we've put into the world of MAG allows us to create more games, different types of games and genres that leverages MAG as really a soil to create a variety of gameplay experiences.
Go. What the? Alright, replay it. How you get up on 1 foot?
I beat him!
As soon as I first started the project, and they were running 256 players on a console, I said, okay, this is it.
That's just something that nobody else is going to be doing. I don't think they'll be doing for quite some time. And it really is on the sheer level of being able to pull that off on a rendering level, on a gameplay level. It's not just on the networking level.
People have traditionally gone like 16, 32, 64. Past that, I mean, it's no man's land, and we're doing it at 30 frames. You know, that's pretty huge.
One of the critical things was that we actually optimized enough so that by the time you hit 256 people all starting to converge in and fight, that your frame rate stays up above 30 and you have a nice smooth experience.
What we wanted to do was make a game where you would be aware that there are that many players on the field, but that we would keep the gameplay manageable, that the events and the battles would be forgiving, that they wouldn't be so large that no one has a chance to excel, no one has a chance to win.
It's involved a lot of new learning experiences for us. We can't look out at other games and say, well, what did they do? We've had to set up a lot of our own practices for setting up levels and features and things like that.
So a lot of the things that we look to kind of in the conventions of a first-person shooter are still there and are still applicable to MAG. But there's a whole new litany of challenges that we've had to face.
We definitely knew that people still have to feel empowered. Nobody wants to feel lost in a 256-player battle.
We don't want to have a wide open area and dump 256 players on it. It's dangerous. You're going to be shot from all sides. So we had to add a lot of density and cover in the assets. Another thing is the options. We want to give players options in these 256 player battles in MAG. So we have to build all of those into the map to support just kind of the variety of players. So we want to be flexible, setting up areas that new players, it's easy for them to drop in, very accessible, versus more skilled players, let them sneak around.
You're looking at crowd behaviors rather than individual behaviors. But at the same time, we wanted to make sure that we are thinking about every individual set of boots on the ground so that you as an individual can have a big influence in the battle.
We've set up a lot of the missions to drop players in, find combat within the first couple seconds. It should never be a lack of something to do or shoot at.
What aren't you going to see in the game is the question. Big old mortar strikes, grenades going off, flashbangs, air strikes, you name it, it's probably in there.
In other first-person shooters, you might see big events like helicopters going down or explosions or buildings on fire. Those things are all scripted. They're happening outside the gameplay space. In MAG, it's the first-person shooter where all of those things are happening around you as an effective gameplay.
When you jump in there and you start to see, the helicopters coming in and the C-130s dropping just loads of people parachuting in, and there's mortars firing, and you can see all the way across the battlefield. It's really a scale that's difficult to kind of paint the picture for people until they get in and play, but it's something that you're amazed to see.
PlayStation.
Bro, how you work this thing, bro? Bro, I'm trying to see all the different settings it got on it. You heard that? Oh, yeah. Bro, what is that, bro? I don't know. Something sound violent. But that's coming from the studio. Oh, what the fuck? What the heck? Oh my God, bro. What is going on here? No, bro. No, I can't do that, bro. I can't. What the fuck happened? Bro. You always make my brother. Wait. Man, take your old ass back in there. Look, you want a little bit of it? You come get a little bit of it right here. That's where you going. Hey, 2 minutes. 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 2 This is going on YouTube.